This is the new Infinix Zero Flip, and it is the first flip phone from Infinix. And for a first flip phone, I think they've done a good job, but there's still room for improvement. Let's talk about it. So my first impressions with the phone looks good. Mine is in this rock black color and the finish feels nice. The phone is big when unfolded at 6.9 inches and it is 3.64 inches when folded. So let's talk about the folding. The folding mechanism is pretty good. As you can see, when you fold it, there is zero gap and it is pretty strong. I'm not usually able to open it using one hand and I just have to use my other hand, and it's snappy, as you can see. And the hinge can also fold from 30 degrees all the way to 150 degrees before finally snapping. And obviously with a phone that folds, there must be a crease, and as you can see, the crease is very visible and it's pretty big. However, when you start using the device, you will barely notice it. And a big contributor to you not noticing the crease when using it is the good display. So the phone display is 1080 by 2640 pixels. It is AMOLED, has LTPO, it refreshes at 120 Hz and has a peak brightness of 1400 nits. And regarding the durability, Infinix promised that it can withstand folds of up to 400,000 times. And on a side note, it doesn't have an IP rating. So one of the main advantages of using flip phones is that you get this exterior display, which you can use for notifications and a lot more. So let's talk about it. So it is made out of Corning Gorilla Glass, which makes it scratch resistant. It is 1056 by 1066 pixels. It is AMOLED and has a peak brightness of 1100 nits. So to me, the display looks good. So when you turn the phone on, this is how it looks. And as you can see, there are 3 apps that you can put there as shortcuts. You can also see the time and date. And I'm glad this can be customized, and with the 3 apps there, you can put the ones that you prefer. And then once you unlock the phone, you get access to a variety of apps in your phone, which you can also customize. And you can use these apps on this small display. And surprisingly, they are pretty compatible with this small screen. You can watch TikTok videos, you can watch Instagram Reels, you can scroll on Twitter, and you can even reply to messages. Typing on it, if you're used to typing on a smartwatch, then these will not be weird. However, most third-party apps that you're using on this small display are not fully optimized for it as much as they are working. For example, if you open something like WhatsApp, you're going to get this notification, which basically warns you that you might experience some issues and the display might start heating up. And I'm glad that they give you this notification because it is actually true. Because if you're using this external display much, you're going to feel that the external display starts heating up. And there are also some gimmicks. For example, you can see in this clip, I was trying to exit WhatsApp. You basically usually swipe up to exit an app and it just wasn't working, which is a bit weird. So far, that's the only gimmick I've experienced, but it is not something that happens all the time, but occasionally you're going to experience it. And once again, I think this is something that can be fixed with the software update. But I actually like how they've made it seamless to use this phone. For example, if I'm using an app like WhatsApp and I'm in a certain page, if I unflip the phone, if I unfold and flip, I'm not sure, it will take me back to where the screen was on the small display, which is nice, and I'm glad that they've optimized that software experience to be good. But one of the ways I think most people are going to utilize this small display is by taking pictures, because this now allows you to take selfies using the main camera. So I think this is a good time to talk about the camera. So it has a 50 megapixel wide camera and a 50 megapixel ultra wide camera. The selfie camera is also 50 megapixels, and both videos can record videos up to 4K 60 FPS. And the back camera also has optical image stabilization. And they do have a collaboration with GoPro. So if you have a GoPro, basically you'll find the GoPro app pre-installed. Now that's pretty much it. So the camera has a few features. It has a preview mode, which if you turn on, if you're taking somebody a picture, they can be able to see themselves, so they can frame themselves the way they want. When you fold the phone halfway, you get an option to enter DV mode, which is digital video, and it does offer you different styles of shooting videos depending on what you like. And it is just a cool way to vlog, and because you can also use this external display to see yourself, you can easily just vlog using it. And talking about this preview mode, there's a weird issue I've been having. So if you access the camera from the lock screen, you don't usually see the icon that enables you to have preview mode. However, if you unlock the phone and open the camera, you will now see that option, which I don't know, it's a bit weird, and I still think this is something that should be fixed with a software update. So if you ever experience that issue, just know that for you to access that preview mode, you have to unlock the phone and open the camera. And so this camera does have some issues, especially when recording video. So I remember on the first day when I was testing out the camera, and I recorded a quick selfie, and the first thing I noticed was that it was skipping a lot of frames. So I tried another time and it was a bit smooth, and then later on when recording another video, the same issue happened. And I realized this issue usually happens when heating on the phone starts occurring, especially if you're recording and you're using the external display as the viewing on. And I came down to the conclusion and found out that if you're using the external display to view yourself when you're recording videos, that is when the skipping of frames happens. But if you turn it off and then you just record a video normally using the back camera, it doesn't usually skip frames, and the next clips will prove that. One of the issues I'm having with this camera is at times, as you can see right now, if I'm moving a lot, you can see the frames are skipping. I don't know if you can notice that, but the footage is not really as smooth, especially when I'm involved in another movement. And my hand is pretty stable, so I don't really understand why it's really acting like this. And something I noticed in the first day, then I thought maybe that was an issue because I was in the studio, it was a bit dark, but I've definitely noticed that there's, I don't know, it's not really smooth. So now what I want to do is I've switched from the DV mode, and I'm just recording normally using the back camera. And right now I cannot see myself. Previously when I was recording I could see myself, and I just want to see if I move around, if there will be a lot of issues. And so now I've switched to the selfie camera, and the first time I noticed it was in the selfie camera, and I don't know, the selfie camera looks a bit stable to me. It's not really a lot of issues that I'm not really seeing it skipping frames. Also, the video quality, it's not really as crisp. I feel like there's a lot of grain in the footage. It's not really that good, if I'm being honest. So it's kind of like a weird issue, and I also honestly prefer just shooting using the back camera because I don't think the video on the selfie camera is really good. And so hopefully this is something that can be fixed in the future. And if you're enjoying this video, I would actually appreciate if you leave a like on the video. It does help tell YouTube that you're enjoying the video, and it does help out the channel. And if you're not part of the community, be sure to subscribe. Join the community. Right now I'm fully back on YouTube, and if you also would like to see more of my other content, be sure to check out my TikTok and Instagram accounts. So now let's talk about performance. So this phone has 8GB of RAM. It is powered by the Dimensity 8020 on a 6nm architecture, has 512 gigs of storage, and it is UFS 3.1. And this phone cost 86,599 Kenya shillings. I think for that price they could have gone for a better processor, because I don't think the 8020 is a flagship processor. And the reason I say this is, if you look at a phone like the gaming phone from Infinix, the GT20 Pro, that phone is powered by the Dimensity 8200 Ultimate, which is way better, and that is my secondary device, and that phone is a beast. And there's a reason I say that. So in terms of normal usage, you're actually not going to experience any issues. If you're just using social media, browsing, the phone has 5G by the way, you'll not really experience any issues in terms of hanging or anything. However, when it comes to gaming, that's when you kind of question it a bit. So the main game I play on phones is PUBG, and on the lowest graphics settings and on the highest frame rate settings, I was getting a maximum of 60 FPS. 60 FPS is playable, but I feel like for a phone that cost this price, it could have been done better. I tried gaming using HD settings, and personally for me that was not playable at all. And that's why I wish that it could have pushed more FPS, at least even getting to 120. And I also don't think this phone is ideal for gaming, because first of all, whenever you start gaming and you are about just 5 minutes into it, this top part just starts heating up, and it's usually a bit crazy, so you don't really get comfortable in your gaming because it does heat up a lot, and the heating does usually affect the battery on the phone. And so For a flip phone, this phone actually has a big battery at 4720 milliamp hours, and it also charges pretty fast at 70 watts and also comes with a power brick, which is something I like. But as much as it has a big battery, I don't think it lasts as long, because whenever I throw some gaming onto this phone, I just get an average of 4 hours of screen on time, and on normal usage I get around 6 hours. And I think most of the things that make the battery drain a lot is mostly using the exterior display, recording videos, and obviously the gaming part. But on the brighter side, if you just avoid gaming at all, this phone will be good, because I honestly don't think this phone is designed for gaming. And once again, on the brighter side, the phone does charge pretty quick, so you can just give it a boost whenever it's low. And this phone is also like pretty light. It is not as heavy, it doesn't feel bulky. When you fold it, it feels compact and it's pretty good. The port selection, it just has the Type-C port, and it does have stereo speakers, and these speakers are also powered by JBL. It also has a SIM card slot which supports a dual nano SIM, and I remember I wanted, obviously when I was testing this phone, to put my SIM card to it and switch to it as my main device, and I could not do that because the phone does not support eSIM, and I use an eSIM on my 15 Pro Max. And I know eSIMs are not usually on most mid-range phones, but I wouldn't really consider this a mid-range phone because of the price. So I would have loved, and I wish that in the next generation of the Flip or the Zero Flip 2 or whatever they name it, it could have an eSIM support. So when I was testing it, I always had to carry 2 phones around because of phone calls, obviously. And if you saw my unboxing video, you could see that the phone does actually come with a phone case inside the case, inside the box that is, and this is the bottom one. I'm personally not a fan of this case. First of all, I feel like it makes the phone feel a bit bulky. And then the back part, it has this strap which I've not really found a way to get rid of, and if I do this, it doesn't really, it usually just comes back if you touch it. And I remember when I was testing the gaming on this phone, this thing is just a distraction. And as much as I'm not a fan of the case, this top part of the phone case actually helped me, because when I was testing the gaming, I think I've mentioned to you that it does overheat. So if you're just putting your fingers around here, you won't have to deal with the heating that happens when you're gaming. So that is why I think this phone is not really designed for gaming. The phone also has support for Bluetooth 5.4 and also has support for NFC. Regarding the software experience, I feel like for a first flip phone, they have done a good job. They have done some little things which make it kind of cool. You can see if I flip the phone, the wallpaper also usually animates with it, which looks so cool. And also offering the customization options on the exterior display is pretty nice. There are also some games that you can play right there, and the phone is running on Android 14 and the Infinix software XOS. I'm personally usually a fan of XOS, mainly because it does usually offer some extra features which aren't usually most of the time on other Android phones, but the software is usually kind of similar to the ones on Techno phones, and mostly transient devices is usually pretty similar. So those extra features that it does offer usually interest me, and that's why I'm saying I'm a fan of XOS. And regarding software updates, this phone will get 2 years of software updates and 3 years of security updates. Once again, I'm going to go back to the conversation of flagship phones and mid-range phones. I feel like there should be a difference, because these shouldn't have the same software support the same way a mid-range Infinix phone has. So I would have preferred if this had at least a minimum of 4 years of software updates, because this is not a cheap device. I consider this a flagship device, and so this phone will just get up to Android 16. Anyway, that's pretty much about this phone. I would really love to have a conversation with you about this phone, so leave your thoughts in the comment section. Otherwise, that's it for this video, and see you in the next one.